let's go ahead and get started. So for today, I want to go over a little bit more HQL, and I want to get into a little bit of doing some joins. So having, like I talked about Tuesday, doing like a car description class that maps to the car class, or doing a user group class that maps to the user class, and then retrieving that data through Hibernate. I still need to put the quiz out. I'll probably open it up later tonight, and it'll be available to like Saturday morning. It's been kind of a hectic week for me, so I'll get that out late tonight, and I'll give you like 36 hours or something to do it. So I know it's on a Friday, but it's 3, 4, 5 questions, so should be pretty easy. I might just make it available all weekend. That way you guys aren't rushing on a Friday to knock a quiz out. So let's jump right into this. All right, good. We're still getting sound. Was anybody able to watch the video from Tuesday, or did anybody check it out? No? Okay. Let me know if you run into sound issues with it, because I can't hear it, but when I looked, it said there was sound in it, so not sure what's happening there. If you run into issues with the sound, just let me know, and I'll re-upload it, re-record and re-upload. So let's jump right into this. So to do a join, you guys all know what joins are, right? Okay, I would hope so. So to do a join, we need to create a related table to one of our existing tables, right? So I think the easier way to go about this is going to be to do a let's say add a car description class. So this class will be representative of details about a car, right? So like VIN, mileage, transmission. Hypothetically, we would have wanted to put color there. Maybe a text description like doesn't run, needs this, needs that, does have this. So we'll go ahead and create our car description class, and then we'll need to create an equivalent in MySQL, and then we'll need to create our Hibernate mapping, and then we will try to pull all the data back out. So we'll call this car description. I'll say string. What are some other attributes we might need for the car description class? So make, model, and year are all attached to the car class. We could re-architect it, but this is more. This class is storing more like metadata about a car, right? So let's assume that every car is required to have it. Well, as it is in the real life, every car has a model year, a make, a model, a color. So what are some metadata things about a car? So like obviously I have a string description. I'd have a VIN. I would have maybe a mileage. Did I spell that right? Mileage. There we go. All right, string. We can say accident history. History. Say string trans. Say int motor displacement. Trying to think if there's anything else. Say string body style. I think that should do it. So now we'll use IntelliJ and just do a Control-N and generate our getters and setters, as well as our constructor, or it should have generated the constructor, I guess. Let's see, did it do it? It didn't do it. Okay. So we will obviously create an empty constructor, but we will also go ahead and create a constructor to pass everything in about a car. And we also need, we need one more field, which is int ID. Yeah, it does it based upon where the cursor's at, and it's kind of a pain because it's like you typically write your members at the top, but then you don't want to generate, you don't want to generate right underneath. I, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get what it's going for, but it's annoying, is what it is. Okay, so we have that. So now we're going to go into our MySQL workbench. Yeah, MySQL workbench. And we'll go ahead and create the table for it. And we will say ID int primary key, not null, auto increment, and unique. And then here's where, all right. So description. And we'll want to make this a varchar, say, nullable, not unique, not auto increment, and 250 characters. We'll say vin. Set this at 20, actually 17. So I know with Ford, the new ones have 17 numbers, like it's a 17 character. I know on, like, going back pre-1970 was 11. So we'll say 17 just to be safe. Actually, let's say 25 because I don't know about Ford cars. That will obviously have to be unique, and we'll want to say, well, it can be null too because we don't necessarily know the VIN when we add the data to the database. Int, or not int, we'll say mileage, and that will be an int. That will be not null, and we can always stub that in for 0. And then we'll say, what's the next one? Accident history. Say 500. Yeah, 500. That can be nullable too. String transmission. 45 should be fine. Technically, we could do a lot less, but motor displacement. We'll make that an int. That can be nullable too. And then we'll say string body style. That can be 50 and not null. Okay, so we've created our table now. And if we refresh our table list, now we should have, crap, I didn't give it a name. Apply. So we've done that, so now we have to create our mapping back to the, so we have to create our mapping from our class to our car descriptions table. So car description dot hbm dot xml, and we'll just copy over some of the details from the cars, our car HBM file. Did I not copy that right? I copied that right. Don't you like about that? Okay. Why are you redlining me here? Let's see. Yeah, it won't let me do it, but it won't. Must have a root tag. That is the root tag. Yeah, I mean it's literally the same XML as in the other file, so maybe it's just doing it because it's not unique. So let's say car description. Car description. Table is car descriptions. Catalog. If I can type. Identity. So we'll say that's fine, and then we have, what was our next field? It was description. There's a string. What do we make that? 250. So our next property is going to be vin, which is a string of 25. Next one is mileage, which is an int. And we can remove the length, and I gotta do this to vin. Oh, did I? Whoops. And then we have accident history, transmission motor displacement. Accident history, which is a string. The length is 500. And then we have transmission, which is 45. We have motor displacement, which is an int. Then we have body style, which is a 50 string body style. So it's Alt-Shift-Enter, or Alt-Shift and arrow key, right? So if I hold Alt and arrow, I'll just jump by word, and then if I hold Shift, I can select like the whole thing. 50. Okay, yeah, I think it was just joking because it was a duplicate file. So now the description was nullable. I'm trying to think. So really, the only ones that were not nullable was mileage and body style. Okay, that should all be good. So now, a couple ways we can go about doing this. We can, we probably would want to write a unit test to make sure that everything is wired up correctly. So we can do that really quickly and do, go in here and do an Alt-Enter on the class name of our new class. We can hit Create Test, and then we just select the package, car description test, and then I just want to add setup and teardown methods. Crap, but I don't even have a DAO class for this. Okay. So let's try to just stub one in really quick. So let's do this, so that we don't have to write the whole DAO class for it. So I will say description NA, then 123 ASDF. Mileage is, say, what was that? Let's say 100K. Accident history, NA transmission, manual, motor displacement. Let's say it's got a 390. and it's a coupe. So we'll apply that, close. Now we need to alter the cars table to point back to the to have a foreign key to the car descriptions table. So we're gonna do an alter table. We're gonna add a new field and call it car description. And then if I can remember how to do this, see, this will be not null. And how do I make, I'm trying to remember, how do I make a foreign key on this? Oh, okay. Car descriptions. Oh, come on. Really? What was that? Oh, okay. I see what's happening here. Okay, so it's the ID on the car descriptions that maps to the description column on this table, but we want to probably make that description ID. Also make it an int, yes. Foreign key, description ID on update, cascade, on delete, cascade, and apply. No database selected. What? Say, oh, come on. Use IT 4045 app.
You have two cards too.
Let's do this. Crap. Yeah, that would be it, I think. Nope, that's not it. Let's do this instead. Let's remove the foreign key entirely and just add the new column, and then we'll go back through and add the foreign key. Alright, so that was done. So now I can add the foreign key ID on car descriptions, description ID, and apply. We could, because basically all the cascade is going to do is it's going to update on the other table too. So like if I delete a car, it'll delete the car description for me. But hypothetically, I could just code that into Java to delete it too. So I could code in my cascading. But we can very easily update the foreign key, and we can just say cascade and close. Okay, so now we have our relationship from our cars to our car descriptions. Now I need to go into my cars table here, and well, while we're still in MySQL Workbench, let's do this. Let's now create a new car description. Okay, so that's for ID 1. So now, why do I have two cars tables? The frack? Okay, there it goes. What? Alright, that's some weirdness. Alright, let's do this. So let's say description ID 1. Apply. So that is on the 1965 F100. Wait, no, I want to do that on the Thunderbird. Close, no. Apply, close. All right. Cool. Okay, so now we have a relationship here. So if we go into car and we create a new field on the car table, so we say private car description, and then we go all the way to the bottom with the stupid. So now we do our generator, car description, and then that should all be fine. So now if I go into my vehicles DAO test, I can test and see if I can pull back a single car. So not get all Fords. Let's say get car by ID. So inside of get car by ID, we'll say car equals vehicles DAO dot get car by ID 47. And the last piece of this is we need to update our, well, what's the last piece of this? For you guys following along, does anybody know? What's the one thing we might have missed in this whole slew of updates? The DAO class for the car descriptions, yes, but we're not even going to touch that today because we've already done DAO classes. What was that? Yeah, the Hibernate link. So we need to go into the car mapping file and add a new property that ties into, so we'll say IT type IT 4045. Oh, I don't know why. Maybe IT 4045 app. Let's just do this. Let's just copy this whole string here. Type is ITTO car description. Not nullish. False. Then what do we call this? Description. On the MySQL table or in the class? Because I know it's description ID in the MySQL table, but I think it's just description in the class itself. Yeah, see right there. So here, the first part of the property is the name of the property on the Java class. The second part is the name of the field on the MySQL, or is the name of the MySQL column. Make sense? Yeah, it could. So let's just do this. Let's update it. Let's go back into MySQL here and alter the table again. Well, remember, Hibernate does some stuff implicitly. So I'm thinking, now I haven't actually tested this, so this is purely speculation. Super easy fix if it doesn't do it. But in any other ORM language that I've worked with, when you do a join like that, where you have a foreign key, so when I get ID number 47, it should pull back the car and then pull back and create the car description object associated with it. At least it works that way in every other language I've ever worked with. You know, I want to be hopeful, but I'm going to be realistic about my expectations. I don't think it's going to work.
You didn't apply changes.
I didn't.
You could have a description idea. Maybe I'm more scatterbrained than you.
I don't know. To me, it makes sense because, like, when I read description, I'm thinking it's a string.
Yeah.
But if I say ID, I automatically know it's an int.
Okay.
But
I get that. You can.
Are we sure it didn't apply? Because that, no changes detected. I think it's already been applied. All right, so since we're doing this, let's put a breakpoint in here and just see what happens. Okay, we haven't failed yet. Evaluate. Exception initializer exception. What? Are we sure that this is coming from the Oh, could not determine type. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. Hibernate. Okay. So that looks like what we need to do here. Okay. Well, this is a lot of code that I don't really want to look at. Okay, many to one. Okay, that'll work. That's what I need. So I was kind of right. I just mapped the property wrong. With a many to one, so I say description, and then this is where I actually put in my com.it4045 DTO. See, now it's auto-completed for me too. Column. Yeah. Yeah. And realistically, if you think about it, right, so how does this relationship work? Well, it should be a one-to-one relationship. But why don't you say one-to-one here too? Right? I mean, because, right, so one car is only going to have one car description, but it's not set up that way in, or is it? Because the descriptions, all the description contains is the metadata about the car, right? So hypothetically, description doesn't have to care how many cars one description maps to. Cars cares about how many descriptions map to one car. Would I? Because my understanding, well, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But it's also not a many to one because not many cars can map to one car description. And many car descriptions cannot map to one. Because there should be a unique constraint on the table. Right. So if we go back here to the cars, it's not. It's actually not, but it should be.
Yes.
So now that should be a one-to-one relationship. Okay, so foreign keys all looks good. No changes detected. So if we go back here, cascade all, column description unique. What don't you like here? Attribute unique is not allowed here. Attribute column is not allowed here. Screw it. Let's make it many to one. unique equals true. Okay. Okay. Now I think we're cooking with gas here. So let's give this a try. All right.
What is that shortcut again?
So function on a Mac, I don't know what it is on Windows. Yeah, it could be Windows key. It could be actually you have an Option key or an Alt key.
Yeah.
So it's just Alt F8 while text is selected. It's the quick expression window. So if you go into code, actually it might be tools, expression evaluation, analyze.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere buried in here. Window VCS run. Oh, okay. It's under run and then evaluate expression. All right, so let's give this a try. Still. An association from the table cars refers to an unmapped class com IT4045 TTO car description. But that doesn't make sense because car descriptions are mapped. Right? Let's do this. Let's write a quick unit test here. So we'll say at test public void get all descriptions throws exception, as it probably will. And then what do we say here? We'll say session equals Hibernate utility dot get session factory dot open session. We'll say session dot get, right? That's how we did it in the other one. User DAO, let's look at get all users. Create criteria, okay. I don't want to import user, but car description. Okay, so we'll say for car description CD in this guy. Print, wait. Oh, good catch. Wait. I gotta cast that. Shit. No, I don't. Let's do this. Hold on. List. Car. For car description. I cannot type today. Car description C in CD. Not necessarily. Really, what I did wrong is I have to so when this comes back, it doesn't know what kind of list of objects it's getting. It knows it's getting back a list, so I have to do this. So I probably could have also cast it to a list of car descriptions, but for readability, yeah. For readability, I'm just going to put it on the line above and call it a day because I don't want to screw with this for an hour. So let's say system out print line print ln c. Stop. Just okay. Here we go. C dot get description. Okay. So now that's all good. So if it... Okay, so had we written our unit test when we first started this, we would have already known that we would have already had everything set up correctly. Okay, so what do we not like about this? Did I miss a field? Okay, so I have ID, car descriptions. I have description, VIN, mileage, accident history, transmission, motor displacement, body style. Now, does that all map correctly to my MySQL table? Okay, so mileage and body style are not null. VIN has to be unique. Okay. I think that's it. So when we add in these things here, these have to map, so our properties of our columns have to map perfectly to the properties of our columns in MySQL, right? So I'm thinking that what was happening here is that we were looking for a unique, and this was set to false, whereas on our table it was true, so when we compared them, they weren't mapped correctly. So let's just roll through this real quick. All right, so number one, that should be all right. Number two, not null and not unique. Number three, unique but nullable. Number four, which is mileage, not null and true, and but doesn't have to be unique. That's true. Accident history can be null and duplicate. Transmission can be null and duplicate. Motor displacement can be null and duplicate. Body style can be null but doesn't have to be unique. Motor displacement is right. Transmission is a 45. Okay. So let's try that again. And it choked again. What was that?
Go back to your first one.
Yeah, so that's just stubbed in. That just means it has an 11-digit limit on the int.
Oh, it doesn't need that. Doesn't actually need it explicitly said.
Yeah. So think about in languages like C, right, where you're dealing with shorts and longs and ints. So I think like a short is what, 8 bits. So you could have an 8-bit integer. So however many, I don't know. What's the biggest number we can hold in an 8-bit integer?
Like 16K or something, right?
Should be 2 to the 8th minus, should be 2 to the 8th minus 1. So let's say 2 to the 8 minus 1. 255.
Oh, no.
So yeah, it's all good. Where was I going with this? Oh, anyway, so that just determines like characters, right? So we could do 11 character. We can hold an 11 character int, right? So what would that be like? It'd be like a 100 billion, 100 trillion size number. So like 11 digits of an int would be like 11 trillion, or would be like 100 trillion, whatever the next number above, whatever the next unit of measurement above trillion is. Is it quadrillion?
You need 9 zeros, 10 digits for when the billion and tenths. Yeah, you have 11 digits, billions and tenths, because you need 9 zeros.
Yeah.
And you need to replace what you have one more.
So that would be 10 billion.
10 billion.
Yeah.
So 99 billion.
Yeah. So that hypothetically would be the largest number we would be able to hold in our MySQL table, which doesn't necessarily correspond to this right here. That, because I was thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute, well, that can't be right because 2 to the 11th minus 1 is, it's not 11 digits. Not only that, but so your standard int, I mean, that's a really, really, really small number to store in a database table for an integer, right? So if I'm storing bank account numbers, well, pretty much everyone in this room should have more than that in, presumably has more than that in their bank account. So if we're storing bank account values, that wouldn't work. And I don't think that I think it's a reflection of digits, actual size of number holdable. Although MySQL is written in C, for what it's worth. Anyway.
It's also maintained by Word.
Yeah, which means it's gone downhill a lot, drastically. Where are we going? Oh, that's right. We were going and trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this. Okay, so association from table to unmapped class failed Hibernate is not a fully... Oh my god. I knew I missed something. What are we missing here? Mapping resource in the Hibernate configuration file. Forgot to tell Hibernate that, hey, I have another mapping file. Check it out.
Pretty nice mapping program.
It is, you know, it's pretty. I mean, it could be prettier. But we can make it real pretty with a Command A, Command Shift, or Command Option L. And it was perfect. It's already perfect. It can't get any more perfect. Let's see. Let's check out car description just because I know that one's probably... Yeah. Okay.
Did you give it your extra lines?
Yeah, it doesn't. It usually doesn't. I think it's because, like...
I think the line formatting and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think technically you are... I don't know. What is proper XML syntax? Are you... I think you're not supposed to leave line breaks. Just like one line break. You're not supposed to leave blank spaces. Because like in programming, like in Python, you have to leave at least 2 blank spaces between functions. And in Java,
Only you don't have to. It's
I mean, you don't have to. Like it won't crash, but like most IDEs will choke on it. I think. Yeah, well, no, the spacing versus tabs is the thing too. But I'm saying the blank spaces between functions
Python and such, right? It like gives you a
warning.
warning, and it just says reformat it. I'll do it for you. Or it really wants it between the imports and your first class line.
well, it's only functions in your classes are only separated by one line, but it's just a straight up Python module by class. They have 2 lines.
Let's do this. We can find this out real quick. Test.py, say def, hello, print, hello, and I'm going to say def. Ah. Now we're yellow lined, expected 2 blank lines.
Yeah, that beats teamwork.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I meant. I didn't mean like it would crash it, but it's just suggested. And I think I could be wrong. That could be, yeah, because that goes against the. That's going off of the Python language standards.
You should see my words code base. We have nice. We don't use the Python naming.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody use underscore naming in Python? I don't use underscore naming. It is in the PEP8, and it does indicate a private. It implicitly indicates a private member variable of the class. Oh, that I do all the time. Well, that's a terrible, terrible thing.
We get this library from the client we have to work on, and everything in there is camel case because they write all their Python in don't write it that way, it looks really stupid.
Well, you know what that's from, right? That's from Java developers writing Python.
I mean, I don't even think they're developers now. They're just engineers. They're just
Contractors.
they're just out there.
Out.
Irritating for
What was that?
I'm not
Okay, I actually like Vim for Python.
No, everything.
That's pretty insane. Nobody should use Emacs unless you're gonna play Tetris.
There's some cool ones.
You can't
Python 3 or
Python 2.7. I'm old school, man. I haven't converted to 3. I've looked at 3, but don't really.
Run into any problems with like, using your stuff?
Pretty much everything out there is written in 2.7, and for the most part, it's backward compatible.
I still think you should switch.
I'll tell you what. When you talk to the people that own that built the product that I own, and you get them to switch to Python 3, I will switch to Python 3.
Oh yeah, I mean, the company was talking about they only use Python 2.6 or something.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you go on to like some of the older CentOS distros, if you upgrade past, I think it's either 2.6 or 2.7.2, it breaks Yum.
That's because that's what it came with.
Yeah. And like I think Yum relies on the Python libraries. So if you upgrade past a certain point in the 2s, you break Yum, and it's basically you have to scrap your box at that point because you can't undo it.
Same with the Raspberry Pi. If you uninstall 2.7, the entire GUI is built on 2.7.
Yep. Yep.
Can't, it's fine if you're sending SSH into it, but if you want to actually get into it and work on it,
Yeah.
you screw yourself.
Yep. Okay. We've added our mapping file back now that we're off of our tangent. We've added our mapping file, or we've added back our mapping into the CFG. So we'll save it and run it one more time. Let's see what happens. Oh, it failed. But for a different reason. This dot transmission in field list. That looks like a typo. It was a typo. Okay, so now we should be in business. Okay. Still choking. Forget. Get all descriptions. Get. So that's coming from the body style, but why is it? Maybe we coded something wrong in the description class. Okay, so it's a body style. So that should be fine. Select all. So the body style is right. It's ID.
I don't even understand why we call them.
Yeah, that's really weird. Let's see Hibernate. That's what I was wondering. After making a schema change, the migration probably didn't work right. Okay, well that's weird because we're literally trying to. Generator class native. Okay. when we look at Django later in the semester, you guys are going to go, oh my god, this is so much easier. So much easier. Okay, so now we go into car. Wait, well that's... Wait a minute. What the Okay, so on... It makes sense for this answer. I don't know. Screw it. Let's just make the change there and see what happens. Let's see. So that's saying it's architected incorrectly. Name, ID, type, int, column, ID. That's weird. Okay, let's I actually think what we're seeing here is that issue that I was worried about that I mentioned at the start of class. I think what's happening is that Hibernate can't actually do that two-way mapping. So I think what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to fill out at least a little bit of the user DAO class. So it would be, so basically this is going to be like get the car. So the ID comes back as an ID, and then convert it to a car object, which is a huge pain in the ass.
How does Hibernate create its classes? Is it called constructor?
It probably uses the mutators.
So it just creates like the default constructor.
Yeah.
Set.
Yeah, would be my guess. It probably does an iteration on these property nodes, and then just yeah, probably just go straight to the property. Be my guess. Let's see. So let's change this one more time, because this is starting to piss me off. Name, description, integer not null. Did I left? Is this? Did we leave that nullable or no? It has to be unique, but it can be nullable. So false and true. Which part? Oh shit, you're right. Okay. All right, let's try this. All right. I will say this is still easier than executing the raw SQL. Property access exception. Okay, what's the... Oh, I know what's causing this. All right, so go into our car description, or our car class. This is a car description, not an int. So if I make this an int, I make this an int, now it should work. So now we have description. So now what we would do is fill out our DAO class to have a get car description by ID, and then use it like that. Which is a huge pain. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Because yeah, that seems like that's kind of annoying. But let me see. What did we say? Hibernate, mapping foreign key. This is using the annotations. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, even in the example, we have to do, we have to use the int. So, yeah, which is kind of what I was afraid of. So, for future reference, if we're gonna do a mapping of, if we're gonna do a foreign key relationship, just use the int, and then have a helper method to grab the object. So you could even have an int field, so like a private int car description ID, and then a private car description, and then just when you generate it, set it. That way, if you're going to use that object a lot, you're not creating two objects. You can just do it all in one line. So, any questions about foreign keys? I know that was pretty interesting experience. I felt a range of emotions. I don't know about you guys. But, do we want to get into HQL, or are you guys content just using ORM? Because I think we've all seen SQL before, and I think the HQL is pretty easy. It's a lot messier. Do we even want to get into that, or are we comfortable for our assignments just doing pure SQL, pure ORM? Yeah. So like, let's do this, Hibernate HQL example. It's because I don't feel like, right? Yeah. Yeah, so it's like this, right? So remember when we did the delete by make function, and we said, okay, so we create a query. That's basically HQL. So we don't have to say select field from table, but we do specify. This is where we explicitly create our where clause. And see like this. I mean, we pretty much have already covered it. The only thing is there are cases like in this example where you can write out a full statement, right? The only difference being instead of saying insert into stock, where it's insert into stock where it's the name of the MySQL table, we're saying stock the class. So it's like shortcutted, bastardized SQL is what it is. You still have to use the ORM, but now you're just only using half of the SQL and half. So it's this weird hybrid. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I mean there is an example of HQL in the code. If you guys want, we can work through one, but I mean, this is it. This is HQL. There's not a whole heck of a lot to it. What was that? Yeah. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make an announcement here in Canopy and just point you guys to this. That way, if you want to use HQL instead of ORM, you can. But realistically, it's just so much easier to use ORM. Just think about it like this, right? If I'm typing out if I say I have a big class that's got 100 different queries in it, what's more effective, 100 handwritten queries or 100 code calls that are checked and validated by the compiler? What was that? Let's say this. Let's do. Stupid Blackboard. Let's put it after today. Okay. So, any questions about HQL, even though we didn't really cover it, or the joins? So, because when we're doing it through the ORM, we're really not even writing joins. We're more of I kept saying joins, and we weren't really doing joins. We were just doing foreign key pullbacks. Yep, doing it right now. I know I didn't push the code the other day, but I am gonna do that right now. Git add, git commit.
And when is the assignment go up?
This weekend. It'll probably go up Sunday. No, it's due Monday. All of it. All of
Assignments going out Monday, assignments going out Sunday,
Yep. Yep. Actually, I don't. When is the last day to drop class? So November 10th. Nobody's gonna be here. It's the last day to drop the class. Yeah. See, he's thinking about it. Dates from Thursday. Yeah. So like I said, tonight I'm gonna put the quiz up. Let's just make it due Monday, since I haven't gotten it up yet. So we'll make it due Monday, so you guys have all weekend to work on it. I mean, it's open internet, open book. No reason everybody shouldn't get 100 on it. The assignment will go up Sunday at some point. And then that'll be due the last week in October, first week in November. I'll put it in the assignment notes. Yeah. Yeah. It'll just be like, from what you've built, do X, Y, Z. So make it better. So like,
take your comments and
yeah.
fix things.
So like put in like for those of you guys, which is pretty much everybody that didn't put in interfaces and unit tests.
I did interface. And unit test. One interface.
Actually, you're right. You did. You did.
One interface.
There was this weird mixture. Some people did a little bit of both. They wrote some people wrote one unit test, like one test class with one method. And I'm like, it kind of counts.
Anything for the point.
Kind of counts. So like I gave some credit here and some credit there for it, but a lot of people just didn't do it.
I think once I got to the unit test, I was like
Pretty burnout.
pretty burnt out.
Ready to go for 5 hours before I even got to the point where I would start working on data set. It's so
Yeah.
close. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, time to make this package. Oh, it's time to write this unit test for this package.
I got caught up in it.
I felt kind of bad. I didn't think that assignment was that hard when I wrote it.
It wasn't hard. It just I waited.
Tedious.
I waited too
Yeah.
long. I know it's
Yeah.
time to write all the papers.
This one should be a little bit easier. There will be some special instructions since we're going to do databases. I'm going to need you guys all to export, and I'll put this in the assignment notes, but I will need you guys to write me export scripts for your database. So there's a way you can do it in MySQL to just have it generate a big SQL file that just gives me everything. That way, I'm not, and give it a unique name, like make your repo name, your schema name, like your 6+2. That way, I have, I don't have 40 IT 4045 app schemas in my MySQL. Because if I have to rename it and change your mapping files, I'm going to be not happy. So, any questions? Okay, cool. I guess that wraps it up for today. You too.